There's the sun and the moon when the skies looking blue. Light is catching your eye like it's meant to.
Hello, welcome to my channel for Evolved Humans. I am Ms. Day. This is a collective reading. So the cards are going to be a little bit loud for a second. I'm sorry about that. I've been working on a new spread so that I can kind of organize the readings a little bit better. I've been working with my guides on that. And I feel like, okay. So one of the things I feel like is really in my head is that someone needs to hear, and this may sound really rude, and I'm not trying to sound like harsh with that, but it feels like someone needs to hear, like, don't make bad things worse. Like, I feel like it's very easy to overreact, and even with the energy stuff, like when we're reacting to different energies coming in, or we're doing a lot of healing work and we're dealing with other people, maybe even coworkers who don't do the stuff that we do, it's like it feels a lot like there's a fresh outlook in someone, like as far as emotional, like I feel like you're a pretty well-trained version of yourself, as weird as that sounds, and I feel like you feel pretty good about your own, like, I don't know if it's like your physical self, your body, just how you operate, your lifestyle maybe, but I think that you kind of, okay, I don't know if like you shut off emotions in your past, but I feel like I have this feeling that someone didn't have a certain emotional example in the masculine way. Like, and I don't mean like just by men, but I feel like this feels a lot, this is not everyone, but it kind of feels like when people used to be like, don't show emotions, or boys don't show emotions, or we don't show emotions, this family doesn't do that, like that type of stuff, just kind of like a stern blocker to the emotional processes. And emotional processing is very human. So whoever's feeling this reading, it's like you kind of got shut off in that way in your early years. And I think that you have come out of that with a pretty high sense of integrity with yourself, but I don't think that the emotional flow, like I don't know that you've seen an example of that. And I feel like someone has sought that example, like someone's been seeking maybe like a masculine role model, or like even authority figure if you're doing things in a solo, like projects and stuff, or even with like life plans. So I feel like, okay, this is strange, but it does seem like it feels like a message that's saying, don't focus. Funky. Okay. So there's this thing that I listened to, and Jim Rohn said that, like, the surface stuff is not what gets you big results, basically. I don't remember what cool words he used. It was better than that. But it's like, I'm feeling like this message is, whoever you are, I think there are surface things you're doing to kind of like fill pockets of time. I don't know if it's like tidying up little things throughout the day, or being like, I need to go through that, or something where it's like almost distracting you from something you can be for yourself. It feels like there's an emotional acceptance that you are a grown version of yourself, and I think you've gone through a lot of that emotional release stuff. So this definitely, if you feel this, like, I think that this has to do with your own spiritual self and being able to connect to someone who can kind of help you. I think you know that you have a stubborn way of learning when it comes to like intimate connections, maybe where certain emotional, because if you were kind of grown in a way where we would shut off the emotions or just be like expected to not react because the rest of the group wasn't. I think you've gone through the outpour of all of that stuff that you never really processed. I think you've gone through that, and it's come in waves, and it feels like there's something missing, and it's like you're kind of trying to fill the spaces with things or stuff, or like using your hands and moving your body, and it almost feels like they're saying, like, it might even be talking to people. Like maybe someone is really feeling like they're talking to someone all of the time. They're just filling the silent times and spaces. Whatever it is, it just feels like a surface type of instant. It just feels like a way to keep moving. Because it doesn't feel like it's almost like it's almost like being someone who can focus on beginning to learn a whole bunch of different things. Like, ooh, I want to learn to crochet. Ooh, I want to learn how to play the harp. Ooh, I want to do this. I want to do that. But never get to the point of actually mastering any of those things because they don't really foresee themselves doing that. They're just kind of like testing it all out. It's almost like you're seeking. It's like your child, your inner child, is still seeking what you need, which is the masculine. Oh my gosh, this is bringing Jim Rohn into my head again. And he said that you don't get what you need in life. You get what you deserve. And that sounds really harsh, but it's also really true energetically speaking, because this is something else that I had said in I think I said this in a personal reading, and it's coming in here too. But it's like there's this feeling of, so you don't get what you need, you get what you deserve. So that means and then that is parallel to something I was getting from my guides as a message for someone else, which is coming in here. And I thought it would. And it was that you don't get the answers which I might have even said already here, but it's like you don't get the answers when you are in your deepest moment of desperation simply because you're desperate for the answer. You get it when you are most receptive to it, like when you're most able to receive and process it. And just to understand, as an example, just think about a friend you have, or if you have grown children, or I don't, but my mom has a lot of grown children, and so if you have grown children or something, or if you're just an adult, and it's you totally understand that their outlook is based on what they are going through in their life. So you may repeat the same advice every single end of the school year or season or something, every single, all the time to this person. And they don't seem like they're listening, or they're not absorbing it, and they're not absorbing it. But we all do that because we don't receive what can help us until we're ready to use it. That's just how it goes. So it's like that thing that Jim Rohn said, you don't get what you need in life, you get what you deserve, and you're way better off if you walk through life with that mindset so that you don't fall back and be someone with a chip on your shoulder. And this feels not that, you don't have a chip on your shoulder, but it's almost like when you have emotional reactions to things, it's like there's a fear kind of blocking you off, and it's tied to that need. So it's like you need an authority figure because you know that you're kind of stubborn. I can relate to that, where it's I'm always going to have a certain need for the masculine to kind of put me in my place in my own head. And that's why my guide, my guide that does this stuff with me is masculine. And that's because that just helps me balance out when I'm moving intensely. It's just like I've said before with the piano. If it can handle your intensity, then you can move something new. So, you can keep making something intense. That's what I'm saying. Okay. So it's these emotional reactions, I think that there's a fear of being too close or intimate with someone because you don't want these emotional reactions to come up. And I think all of that ties into this need for a masculine type of energy. Like it doesn't, I don't mean you need a man. I'm just saying like you need kind of an authority presence, and that's not weird. Like that's us. We're wild animals. So like when you're literally training your vehicle to do better and to create new things that the world has not yet seen, or you're trying to be something that like is going to leave something behind that was going to make a situation better that you went through, it's like it's okay to need a boss. Like it's okay to need someone who's going to make sure that you stay level-headed and help you know, like look at them and be like, okay, do I go with that, or is that something trying to pull me backwards? So it feels like whoever this is for, it's like you're kind of expecting certain things to come out of human relationships. And I feel like this is also for someone who's an intense type of energy, whether you expose that or not, you're a lot to contain. And you know that about yourself. That's why the emotional reactions, I think, freak you out. Like you don't want to access those. So it makes you less able as a person to connect deeply. Because when you connect deeply, emotional reactions are a part of processing emotions. So if you're going to experience the deep emotions, you know that the deep emotional reactions are inevitable. So it's like the surface stuff is almost like reaching for connections and friends and people, which is interesting because I also was thinking that someone needed to hear that like sometimes your guru, because I've heard people say that a lot, where they're like, I have a spiritual guru, or I have this guide or this one, and they're people. And that's awesome. Like, this is the thing. This is what we're doing, all of us. But it's like to have a guide that is not physically present, that constantly develops your ability to trust. Because it's a constant trick of the mind almost. Like it feels like you're constantly having to re-justify that it is real and you're not nuts. And that's where like the taming of this wild animal, like let the authority in. It doesn't always feel good to receive the messages, but sometimes there are physical things to tweak throughout your day that are the deal breaker that take you to the next level. Like teeny tiny things. And I know that's not always like, it doesn't feel good to get poked at the things that are maybe even vices or healthy distractions, or your way, or they feel like they're healthy because they help you detach. I feel like this reading is kind of saying like, we want to help you go to the next level emotionally. This is what you need. Now you need to be willing to accept what you need. Like you need to go into the next step with us. And that's for you. Like this is you growing, like stepping into the next step. And that's going to get you where you can have the deeper, intimate connections. Even if this has to do with you and your child. Even if this has to do with you connecting to children. Like this is not all of you, but it feels like some of you want to connect better to your children or your child. And like this is going to give you a stronger base for that when you reach out from your own foundation. Like it's going to be so solid. Like that's really cool when someone's living in a shaky world. Like when a solid rock all of a sudden appears out of nowhere, like it really sticks out to people. So that feels emotional. So, and that has to do with past loved ones too. Like if you're feeling, I feel like some of you also have been remembering and feeling really sad for past loved ones, and it feels like a masculine type of past loved one. There's a feminine too. I shouldn't have even just said that because it's literally like two. I mean both. But it's like, and this just means the energy. I don't mean like a dude and a chick. I'm just saying like very strong masculine vibe and a very feminine vibe in a person. It feels like they want you to know that feeling bad for them is just you feeling bad for them. It is not doing anything for them. They're not in the same moment they were in at the end. So I don't know who needs to hear that, but they're not at the same place that they were at their last human moment. So if you've been cycling over in your mind about that, or even having dreams about it. It's like they want you to know they keep growing. That's the greatest opportunity that we get, is that we get to keep growing. It's probably the coolest thing I've ever learned about in being able to connect with past loved ones. If they can grow after they leave their body, like, that's pretty cool. That's a pretty cool light at the end of the tunnel, no matter what we go through here, in my opinion. So, okay, I'm going to end it at that. It feels pretty intense already. I'm just going to let it go. Feels like there's a lot of stuff going on in here. So if this feels really emotional to you, I just feel like your guides are being in a supportive way. They're saying, we want all of you. So if you feel intense emotions and your emotional reactions come up, start connecting to your guides and let them come up. When you're alone with your guides, then who are you going to hurt? Don't hurt yourself. But I'm saying, who are you going to hurt externally? So then what do you have to be afraid of? Nothing. If you trust that they're there, then your trust has to be stronger than your fear of your own reactions, your own wrath. Trust the good more than you trust a bad outcome. That's the thing I thought right at the beginning of this too, was this sounds so rude, but I just feel like someone needs to hear, just don't make a bad situation worse. And that even means passive-aggressive comments. That gets really hard in life, and I understand, but I feel like someone is making passive-aggressive comments and they don't even realize that. But that's not their thing, it's not a characteristic. So just kind of looking at it is really important to be able to get control of it. So, okay, I'm going to end it at that. Thanks for watching the videos. Thanks for sharing and subscribing and all of that. I adore you. I'm not very good at communicating that because I kind of get stopped up just with pushing things out there, but I really love being able to feel all of your energies in the readings. And then I get reactions in my body when you comment things, especially if I get to see how they resonate. I feel connected to you all the time, and it's really cool. So I wanted you to know that I hope you have a good weekend, and I will see you guys in the next reading. All right, bye.